Hello and welcome. My name is Ahmed, and today I will be presenting a comparative analysis of employment relation in Italy and France. Um, this presentation explores how state intervention, institutional legacies, and reform paths shape labor market outcomes, highlighting lessons for navigating the future of work and rapidly evolving European context. Um, um, the second presentation to begin, let's consider the recent wave of protests in France over pension reform and episode that remind us how intimately states' employment policies affect national life. The purpose of this presentation is to explore how Italy and France use state power in employment relations. Um, my central thesis is that while both countries show robust state involvement, their divergent political cultures and institutional paths have led to distinct outcomes in employment governance. Next is the defining the scope state's role in employment relation. Employment relation or ER refers to structured interplay between workers, employers, and regulatory bodies. The state's role spans five areas like legislation, labor market policies, minimum standards, collective bargain, and workplace regulations. Italy and France differ markedly. Italy favors decentralized bargaining and legal interpretation, while France operates through codified law and centralized enforcement, underscoring contrasting regulatory philosophies. Um, Actually, and the fourth slide, there's Italy state's role and institutional framework. Italy has employment relations system evolved from corporatist concentration, but has since fragmented. And of course, while historically inclusive, it now reflects regional disparities and reactive policy making. Notably, the 1970 Statute de Laborati laid foundational rights, but was undercut by the Neoliberal Jobs Act in 2014 and 15, which weakened reinstatement protection without boosting job creation. Um, Institutionally, coordination is poor. Uh, ANPL and regional employment services often work at cross purposes while unions remains fragmented and employers like Confederacia dominates police dialogue. Um, Next one, in Italy, impact on stakeholders and workplace dynamics. For employers, the Jobs Act brought short-term hiring flexibility, uh, particularly for large firms, but SMEs saw little benefit from them. For workers, it deepens the divide between insiders with legacy protections and outsiders facing precarity, especially youth and women. Uh, Union influence is declining, industrial conflict is mooted, and negotiations have become individualized and el- eroding collective power. Actually, critically, evaluations of Jobs Act show it failed to boost net employment and instead converted contracts rather than creating new jobs. Next, France states roles and institutional framework. As I mentioned, France is contrast has state-centric legalistic model of employment relation. Um, Actually, labor code while dance is central pillar here. Reforms like 20, um, 2016 Louis El Hamri and 2017 Macron ordinances decentralized bargaining and streamlined dismissals. Yet they sparked mass resistance, like highlighting tensions between market liberalization and social protection. Key institutions include the Ministry of Labor and Performance Cards, unions, and despite low density, hold legal influence is representation and negotiation. Uh, the states play an active role in extending collective agreements. Next one is France's impact on stakeholders and workplace dynamics. Macron's reforms brought flexibility for employers, but the complexity of complaints, especially for SMEs, remains high. Actually, for employees, the divide between secure CDI holders and vulnerable temps has widened. Legal rights remain strong on paper, but are often hard to exercise. Unionism in France is more political than pragmatic, actually. And so membership is low, mobilization remains powerful, as shown in recent Yellow Vest and pension protests. Actually, next one is comparative analysis, state intervention, and legislation. Both Italy and France exhibit strong state involvement shaped by European Union level pressures. However, their legislative models differ. Italy is fragmented and reactive, as I mentioned, while France is codified and consistent. Actually, um, centralization also sets them apart. Italy's decentralization leads to regional variance and uneven enforcement. France's legal uniformity ensures clarity but sacrifices flexibility. Um, Next one is comparative analysis, institution, and bargaining. Um, this institutionally, Italy has higher union density, but internal fragmentation weakens impact. France union enjoys stronger legal roles despite low membership. You know, Italy uses a tripartite bargaining structure, while France relies on universal extensions. France performance cards offer speed, but recent caps on damages have raised equity concerns. Um, Italy litigation-based model, by contrast, is slow and inconsistent, actually. Um, Next one is impact on stakeholders, just like comparative. France provided stronger wage floors through SMIC and better statutory protections, yet its rigid structure fuels unrest, actually. Um, Italy's flexible employment relation model allows adaptation but fosters precarity, particularly in southern region among young generation. Ultimately, both systems reflects the trade-off between en- enforceability and adaptability, security and flexibility. Next one is future trends and emerging challenges. Looking ahead, both countries face shared pressures, platform work, automation, demographic aging, and green transition. Italy must address structural youth unemployment and regional inequality. France struggles with reforming fatigue and skills mismatches. Um, Adapting employment relations frameworks will require institutional equality, social trust, and inclusive governance mechanism. Next one, there's recommendation for policy reform. For Italy, active labor market policies must be integrated with vocational system and aligned across regions. Public-private coordination is key. As I mentioned, is Caroline 2016. France should simplify the SCE process for SME and strengthen the SPF chain for foster lifelong learning. Um, Cross-nationally, both must modernize protections for gig workers and test adaptive employment relation innovations in policy labs like Denmark's flex security zones. Um, Next one is critical reflection on comparative analysis. This comparison showed that legal frameworks matter, but institutional capacity and coordination matter more. Both nations struggle with societal resistance, actually, France through protest, Italy through inertia. Policies are not universally transferable cultural history and institutions filter reform impacts actually employment relations system reflects and reinforce national political economies. Um, Next in a conclusion and final provocation. Actually, to conclude, France and Italy show that strong state roles in employment relations yield different results depending on how institutions operate. Reform success um, hinges not on delegating the state but on redesigning its role. As the labor market evolves, our final provocation is how can states recalibrate employment relations to balance flexibility, protection, and inclusion, actually. Um, Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to take any question or discuss further insights for reference available in executive summary. Please feel free to reach out after this session for further discussion.